Welcome back everyone to another video. I know it's been a little while. Um, since I've been gone, I've been working on a few things. I've actually changed brokers, and I think I had told you guys last time I reverted back into using Trade Locker instead of MetaTrader 4. I'm still using TradeZella, and now I'm also using Notion so that I'm more familiar with Notion than I am on TradeZella when it comes to like I don't know if you can take screenshots on TradeZella and stuff like that, but I can obviously learn things like that. Right now, I just want to kind of keep it simple, stick to what I kind of know, and utilize Notion for understanding order flow and also like not just order flow, which when I mean order flow, I mean time frame, but also understanding a little bit more about what's working and what's not working based on me switching my strategy because I have switched my trading strategy a little bit. When it comes to like time frame, I wasn't really considering using the 1 hour time frame. I was really just focusing more on the 4 hour time frame. But obviously, if I'm gonna switch from the 4 hour to including trades that are taken from the perspective of looking at the 1 hour, I'm gonna get more opportunity, but I'm gonna have to be more picky with uh the trades I'm taking. I kind of think I would be more picky in a way, um, because when it comes to the 4 hour time frame, if I'm looking for strategies, they'll take forever to play out, and then the moment it comes to like my area of interest, I'm like super interested in it to where I'll just take it. And I think if there's more opportunity, which there should be if I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame for the most part, there's going to be more opportunity, but it allows me to be more uh selective when it comes to the trades that I'm going to take. So I think that's actually a really big deal. And I think that can also help with the risk to reward. I honestly think that there's going to be better risk to reward on the 1 hour time frame. Um, and just when I say 1 hour time frame, that doesn't just mean that I'm mainly looking for positions to take from a range of just the 1 hour. Because we all know that the daily time frame, most of the times, it's coordinated with the micro time frame of the 1 hour. So sometimes I'll just take the 1 hour low to the 1 hour high or the high to the low of the 1 hour structure range. And there's also sometimes where I'll look for an entry based on the 1 hour time frame, and then I will continue with the move until price has hit the low of the day or the high of the day. So I hope that makes sense. Now when it comes to TradeZella, another thing that I want you guys to know is that for TradeZella, I'm gonna see how it is with focusing more on percentage instead of dollar figure or dollar. Let me see what it's called in here. Yeah, I mean it says dollar. When it comes to presenting and focusing on not just for you guys, but also for myself, I just think mentally, when we think about percentage, it's also mentally, it's more helpful mentally, because when it comes to like, looking at dollar figures and stuff like that, I think there's more emotion involved when you start focusing on money the way that it should be focused on. Any currency, I think anything transactional, I think it makes sense to look at the bigger picture and focus on the percentage that you're either risking, um, honestly, just risking. Because right now we want to always and forever think about, how much we're risking and what our reward is. So obviously the risk is important, but not only the risk is as important as the reward. So just to recap what I just said. Risk is more important than reward. if if somebody were to ask me, um, what would I what would I think is more important? Um, I'd say risk is probably 70% more important and 30% um, would be the reward for as much as like what's important versus not important. Um, yeah, if there was like some type of co-insurance, I'd say trading is 70% how much you're risking, maybe 20% what your reward is, 10% thinking about, you know, I guess 30%. But yeah, 70% is what you're thinking about of what the risk is, and 30% over the reward. But you want to make sure, obviously, the risk to reward makes sense. So I would recommend focusing on risk, in my opinion. Um, all right. So there are some moves that I have been considering that are actually happening right now. But what is this? This is USD CHF. Yeah, there are a couple moves that I'm considering. I did call out in my Discord. I called out CAD JPY trade, and I also called out a USD CHF trade. And if you guys want to, join my Discord to see which kind of setups I'm looking at on a daily basis, then or maybe virtually daily basis, feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the bio. It's a free Discord. What is this? Bearish, and then it went from, all right, I'm gonna start sharing my screen for what I'm actually looking at right now. So right now I'm looking at this USD CHF trade. I'll show you guys how I started changing the way that I'm trading. So the way that I'm trading now is I'm looking for, I'm mainly honestly staying on the 1 hour time frame. So once I look at the 1 hour time frame, I'll see like what we're doing. Obviously, I start from the daily. I'm gonna remove the weekly just because I included the weekly only because I was looking to see where price is headed for the most part. Let me delete this. All right, so if we look at the daily, we can see that the daily is ultimately bearish, right? Ultimately bearish. We're also under the EMA. I included the EMA just to know um where most of like do we have mostly buyers or do we have mostly sellers? My EMA is 50. This is my input. Length 50, and then this stuff I just leave it. But yeah, so you can see my EMAs. I want to change the color of the EMA. Style, probably do black and yeah. All right, so if we look at how the daily looks, which is bearish, that's fine. Now let's say we look at the 4 hour. We can see the 4 hour. 4 hours appears to be bullish. It appears to be bullish because this would be a high. This would be a high, right? And then if we honestly like to use the drawing, like so low, high, and then it breaks. So this is the break, or this is actually the break, but this is the low. This is the high, or high. This is the low. This is the high. And then if we look at this closely, you can see if we go down to the 1 hour, you can see that the 1 hour low would be, let's say if this is the 4 hour high, this is the 4 hour low, then we'd have to take a look at the 1 hour, right? So I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna use this tool for the 1 hour. So 1 hour high, 1 hour low, high, low, high. This is a new low. So if this is a new low, actually, this is, I'd probably consider, what would we consider a low? Okay, I'd consider this a low. Boom. I'd probably say this is structure. Because if we look at the, yeah, line chart, I would say this is structure. And then, boom. So we got the 1 hour here, and then boom, 1 hour structure. So this would be how I would interpret price. I'd interpret price this way. Um, what I would say is that I would look for, since this is like the range, right? This whole pocket right here is the range of the 4 hour and 1 hour going bullish. I would suggest that, especially if we see imbalances right here and also imbalances right here and some imbalance right here, I would say that somewhere in this range, we should be able to buy price or buy, USD CHF. Now, I would say right now I did call out a buy right here because on the 5 minute time frame there was in fact a break of structure, but on the 15 minute time frame, unfortunately, price wicked up and wicked out. So there's a possibility, you can see that there's an engulfed 15 minute candle. There's a possibility that price will play out here. It is just obviously a matter of time, and price has tanked beneath this wick. So this got wicked out. This was Monday's high or Monday's low. If Monday's low got wicked out, then there's a possibility that we are going up, especially because the 5 minute time frame has shifted from bearish to bullish. So this is something that I considered. I called this out in my Discord. So again, feel free to join the Discord. The link again is in the bio. Um Yeah, I mean, price appears to be shifting, because if we look at the 5 minute structure point for anybody that trades price action, you can see this is a low, this is a high, this is a low, and then price break structure right here at that candle close. Then price comes back, possibly, and even on the 2 minute time frame, so low, high, low, break of structure. So this honestly could be a potential move to really consider. Happening, honestly. Um, and then I want to show you guys another that I called out. So I called this one out, and obviously this one is actually taking into effect as we speak. Um, I keep forgetting to take this off, but yeah, it seems like, the risk to reward, honestly, for me transitioning from focusing more on the 1 hour time frame instead of the 4 hour time frame too much, I get more opportunity. Clearly, you get more opportunity when you scale down from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. It kind of seems like it creates more opportunity, and not only opportunity, but it also creates better risk to reward. So it's on a trader's an individual basis when it comes to who is the trader when it comes to risk management. You can't force anybody to risk a certain amount, right? But I think that the risk to reward that I personally use, 5% is reasonable based on the trades that I participate in. Um So yeah, this is something that I'm considering to happen right now, and I am actively in this, and I'm also actively in this trade right here. It's currently around 1 to 2. Some people go for 1 to 2. Some people are, they live by 1 to 2 risk to rewards. I personally don't think that risk to reward of 1 to 2 is enough. I think that 1 to 3 is the most minimal that I'd go. Obviously, you want to get 1 to 8s, 1 to 7s, 1 to 10s, and more, but not always the case. Um, as traders, we have to take what we can get, and if I can't get anything more than a 1 to 2, then I'm honestly not interested, and I'll just move on to the next trade, or I'll come back later to see if there's anything that presents itself. But that's really my take on that. Um, I usually do a Mark Douglas quote. I'll do a Mark Douglas quote right now. Um, almost done with this book actually. Okay, so here's one quote that I've highlighted. It's in the chapter How to Become a Disciplined Trader. So he says, first and foremost, you may need to change your perspective or the focus of your trading. Until now, your focus may have been to make money. If this is so, you will need to change your perspective to what do I need to learn or how will I have to adapt myself to interact more successfully. I think what's great about this quote is that absolutely right when it comes to um your approach and making changes to your decisions when it comes to trading to be a successful trader. There's ways to think as a loser and there's ways to think as a winner when it comes to trading. Um, for example, you can be a trader who makes $300 on your account. Let's say, you've risked whatever this is, whatever equity you have. Let's say you've risked X amount, 5%, and you're up $300, risking 5% of your account, and you usually don't make $300 a day. I know you've heard this analogy before. You've never been paid $300 in one day. Suddenly, you have this day of, your most $300 day, and you continue to hold for whatever reason. Traders have whatever reasons. You can be the trader that says, I'll take this and I'll walk away. Or you can be the trader who says, I think I can make more. This is, less than what I'm expecting out of the markets and stuff like that. And then, you can walk away with -5% instead of the 300, taking the 300 off the table and walking away. Um, I think that's a conditional analogy just because you could be risking 5%. You could be up 300. You could have been a person who's never accepted or had a $300 profit day ever. But you might be somebody who's disciplined enough to say, hey, I'm not going to come out of the market unless price either hits my stop loss or take profit, which is a great habit. That's actually something that I'm still working on. But if I tend to I'll only step away from the market and close my trade if the market gives me more than enough signs that indicates that price is no longer in favor of my direction. And if I just keep on getting reasons to come out of the markets, then that's when I'll step out of the trade. So yeah, I think that's important to know. Um, but yeah, I think that is something that is for sure important to know. Um, Yeah, so these two trades, honestly, these could give a good risk to reward. Like this is a 1 to 13. CAD JPY is a 1 to almost 8. It's a 1 to 7, 1 to 7.95. I was also looking at, AUD JPY, Euro USD, GBP USD, GBP JPY, gold, and GBP AUD seems like is taking off, but that's fine. I mean, I was in this USD JPY trade. I was also in the USD CAD trade, but I ended up, I thought that, I was getting more than enough reasons to step away, especially because I seen the US dollar go from, bullish back to bearish. When price closed below this low right here, I thought, hey, maybe price is actually bearish, but not sure. I really don't know. So I think if I don't know, if I feel like I don't know, uh, honestly, I think those are signs for me to just step away. Because normally, when I feel like I'm not too sure, and I think there's way too many signs that are indicating that I should step away, honestly, I just step away. I don't even fight the markets. It really doesn't make sense for me to fight the markets. Because usually I don't end up winning. I haven't seen any NASDAQ opportunities. Actually, yeah, Euro JPY. Um, let's see, like if you could see like on a micro perspective, you can see there's a high. This would indicate a low. This would indicate high. This would indicate low. This would indicate high. If we drop down to the 5 minute time frame, you can see that the this was a 5 minute low here, 5 minute low here, 5 minute high, 5 minute low here, 5 minute high, 5 minute low here, 5 minute high. Price never came, down to this area, probably because there was an imbalance that already got filled here. So when that happens, and you believe price will not come back, you can easily enter here. Right here, this is a 1 to 1. If you extend it, right, your take profit is the high, you're gonna be looking at a 1 to 3. See, this is a 1 to 3. And again, I only take 1 to 3s or more. So I think this is important to know. As far as what's going on here, I do believe that, this is going to continue going up, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think it's a great trade. I think it's a great opportunity to be in. Um, we got, we finally got Sunday's low. Honestly, this might actually be Friday, Sunday, and Monday's low taken out. So if we got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's low taken out, 4 hours bullish, 1 hour is bullish, 5 minute just shifted from going, bearish back to bullish. We're possibly about to even close above the 15-minute structure. This is a great opportunity to be in, I think. And if you look closely, you can see that there was a 15-minute imbalance right here that got wicked. Not this wick, but this wick right here. So orders could have been sitting right there, whatever you want to call it. You can call it liquidity, you can call it anything you want. But I do, and then there's an engulfing 15-minute time frame pushing up, 5 minute time frame already shifted from, bearish to bullish, like I said. So this also is showing about a 1 to 13 risk to reward. I think this is a perfect trade to be in. And I think it's also helpful if this actually plays out. I think this also helps with building confidence when it comes to the changing of my ideal trade opportunity, or yeah, I would say trade opportunity, since I'm changing the way that I trade from focusing more on 4 hour time frame uh down to focusing more on the 1 hour time frame. But so far that's really what I'm looking at in terms of I did see this BTC USD opportunity, but I didn't take it because when I was looking at the charts, spread was high, and this is a GBP CHF trade, so 1 hour time frame has shifted from bullish to bearish. This is an external to internal trade. So if I trade this, I'd probably risk 50% of what I normally risk. If I trade external to internal, it's least expected to happen. And if it's least expected to happen, it doesn't make sense to risk the same amount that you risk on an A plus plus trade. So I think if I were to consider this as a C plus trade or a C plus plus trade, whatever you want to call it, I would probably say a C plus trade just to make it sound good. Um, I would say I am gonna have to come up with a grading system. I guess I can come up with a grading system on this video in this video. I think for a grading system, I'd say A plus A plus setup would be equivalent to definitely internal to external. B plus would also be internal to external. And then C plus would be equivalent to external to internal. What I actually might do is I might change the risk. So instead of an A plus setup getting, I don't know, 5%, I might do 7%. I'll see how this works. Uh, 7%. I'm still modifying things. 7%. A B plus setup I'd risk 5%. Because that's normally what I risk. And then especially if that's in the middle. And then this would be I'd probably do 2.5%, so 50% of what I risk, or maybe 3%. Because I'd honestly, if it actually goes in my direction, I'd say honestly, I'd probably get mad and say, why didn't I risk more? So I think this is a great grading system to start. And then structure would be, say for structure, what would consider A plus plus? Okay, so if the daily could be bullish or bearish on the daily time frame, this would be a external to internal 1 hour shift. Yeah. Um, yeah. This would be this would be a 1 hour 1 hour shift in daily direction. And then this would be when I do parentheses 1 hour, comma, 4 hour, parenthesis, plus daily, plus in daily direction. This would indicate that I want to make sure I can show you guys, what this even means, because it's kind of, it almost feels like coding. I don't know if anybody here has ever coded like Python, C++. plus plus. If you've ever coded, coders, if you're watching, you know what this kind of insinuates. So if we're looking at structure and we got a low here, high here, low here, high here, low here, right? On the daily time frame, this would be the previous high, this would be the previous most recent low. And so if we're talking about A plus, right? Then that would mean this is going to be an internal to external opportunity. Now, what I would say is boom, we get this is going to indicate a small time frame, right? So we got pressure going up, but then price suddenly on the smaller time frame indicates 1 hour shifted, but also not only the 1 hour shifted, the 4 hour time frame shifts. So if the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame shifts, we'd look for that break of structure, and then if you want, you can say, hey, I'm gonna boom, take price down. So I would enter here, risk 7%, stop loss above that high, and then I'm targeting the low of the daily time frame, which is about a 1 to 5 risk to reward. Or could be less, could be more. Honestly, again, I'm not looking to get into anything that's less than a 1 to 3. So I hope that makes sense. Um, okay, look, USD CHF is actually pulling up. That's actually a great sign. And the best sign that we got was obviously, price taking out the Sunday, the Friday, the Saturday, or the Friday low, the Saturday low, and also Monday's low. It's Tuesday right now. Um, Honestly, most of the times, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, it seems like is the best opportunity plays out in the markets. So that's food for thought for you guys to know and do what you want with that information. My statistics works for me personally based on the way that I trade. Take it with a grain of salt. It could possibly work for you as well. CAD JPY is literally flying to the moon, like I said. Join the Discord. It's free. Links in the bio. Um, Look, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. You don't have to copy everything I do, but it's obviously working. Um, all right, so I mean, I was looking at AUD USD. It seems like it might be playing out, but I'm not actively in it. And as you can see, like, the most recent low, I'm really entering around like 5 or 15 minute breaks of structure. And this is the most recent, low on the 5 minute time frame. This is the most recent high. So it really didn't give me a good entry point. Like it could be working right now in favor, but it's not the way that I trade. So if I don't have enough confidence, I'll end up just not, n like if price does something sketchy, I'll just end up stepping away from you know, stepping away from the chart and stuff like that, or closing my trades too early because, if I don't have enough conviction or confidence in the trade, it's just not going to make sense long term for me to stay in. And that's something that I learned about myself. And I think as traders, since we're independent contractors, it it's helpful for you to understand, analyze, the way that you think and analyze your emotions, analyze, your experience. If there's something that you feel like you need to work on or look a little bit more into, maybe even statistically just analyze a little bit more about your statistics, your win rate, and your risk management. I think that is something that is overlooked in this industry because risk management is the most important thing that traders should understand. You don't have to be a mathematic, genius. You don't need to know economics to be successful in the trading industry, clearly, because on a weekly basis, I might open, the what's it called? I can't even remember what it's called. It's right here, Forex Factory. I might open up this, site, maybe once on a weekly basis, but usually, I don't. It might be helpful. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but excuse me, if we're talking like to be successful, in trading, do you need to know economics? Probably not, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm documenting this and we'll see if what I say matches up to the results that I'm producing. Here is my TradeZilla right now. Account is down negative 2.50% for the week. I normally risk 5%, but the reason why this is negative 2.50 percent is because on the trades that I've taken, I've scaled out of certain positions that I took because I started losing interest. So let's say, for example, I hopped in the market, I placed a trade, and I see that it might not be something that is going to play out. When price might pull back to like maybe 50% of my entry in between like the stop loss and entry point, and it comes down to like 50%, I might say, in this case, not always, but in this case, I thought I might be too early in this trade. So let me this is actually what I did with USDCHF. So I was like, I might be too early, so let me back out. Maybe I'll pull out like 50%. So I pull out like 50% of the 5%. Now I'm risking 2.5%. Or might be a little bit more because I've already took drawdown. So um it's not something that I would promote because if you were to hop in like I actually did, I re-hopped into this. Now you're risking more than 5%. This is probably a 7% trade that I take on as an A plus plus trade. Honestly, CAD JPY was an A plus plus trade, but I didn't. I just created this, grading system. So I just need to find it. I don't know where it went. I just need to find it. I do not know where it went. Wow, this is a Euro JPY. Yeah, this would have been a good 1 to 3 risk to reward, but unfortunately I didn't enter. I really don't know where that grading system that I just created went. I don't know where I wrote that down. Uh, should be somewhere here. Can't be far. There's no way. There is no way. Can't be. I really don't know where it went. Dang. How did I lose it? Oh, is this it right here? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so boom. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. What I'll do is I have my handy dandy key to abundance right here, and I'm gonna add, I already have a front to it. For example, if you guys have watched my video when I created this, you can find out what's on this. So I hope you guys have been watching. One of the things I'll release to you guys is on here. of my key to being abundant or key to abundance is be more selective. I'll give you guys one more. Something that I already mentioned on this Zoom call. Choose a minimum risk to reward of 1 to 3. I'll give you a third that's on this key to abundance. Maximum time to re-enter a trade, or maximum times to re-enter is 1. So if I exit a trade, I only have one more opportunity to get back in. The reason for that is because let's say I get in for 1 to 3 and I get stopped out. But we all know that there's some times where you might get stopped out. Could be due to spread. It could also just be because uh price wanted to hunt down a little bit more for a better price, right? Some people, there's institutional traders or hedge funds or inside traders or whoever in the market could want a better price, push price down to where it hits your stop loss, so you get stopped out, but it pops right back in and goes in the direction that you anticipated in the first place. So let's say something like that happened and you had a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Now, if you hop back into the market after getting stopped out and you're going again for 1 to 3, right? You're risking, let's say for example, you're risking uh $50 for $150, right? So you're risking 5%, which is probably, $1,000 account. You're risking $50 for $150 on $1,000 account. You get hit. So now you're negative $50 on this $1,000 account. If you were to hop back into the market, then and the price hits your take profit this time, now you're up about $100, because now if your account is at 950, obviously you're not risking 50%, or $50 is not 5%. It's gonna be actually you're gonna have to risk less. Maybe $45 is 5%, but you'll make about $100, almost $100 if it's a 1 to 3 that you enter again for this trade. But you have to have ultimate conviction in this trade. This doesn't always happen. It happens occasionally. For the people that are experienced, they know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that is that. Like I said, USD CHF, it definitely seems like it's about to play out. I got an alert here so that I know if the 15-minute time frame is going to get a candle closure above this candle's wick. So it might happen. Right now it looks like it's about to hit, and I might get the alert. And this is a 1 to 13 risk to reward that could potentially happen on this Zoom call. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to stay here until the Zoom call ends, but I just want to, yeah, I just got the USD CHF alert, and here's the alert. But I just want you guys to be aware of the possibilities, the opportunities that are in the markets. And if you want to visually see, be on time with these types of trades that I'm taking on a weekly basis, join the Discord. It's completely free. I really don't know if I'd ever I'm really not too sure about the mentorship thing, but I don't know, it's something that I'll think about. But for the time being, I'm gonna continue providing free information, free value. Um and I know that this is something that people are gonna be able to learn from. So hope this helps. Uh I had I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, this is my notion right now. So just to give you guys an idea, I'm gonna implement the grading system into this as well. I just have to add a column, but just so that you guys have an idea. And this is a free, I think this is a free, like, what do you call it? I don't know, free account. It's a free account that I have. You can use Notion for free, depending on what what you want to include in your template or, page and stuff like that. Um, for example, though, uh, I put that I took, I was in this USD CAD trade, right? I was in this USD CAD trade, which is down here, and I entered down around here. Price came up, came down, broke structure. Once once price, had this high, this low, this high, this, you know, structure shift right here, and then price kind of rallied back. I was like, you know what? Price rallied back. It's probably gonna tank down and take out this low that we had from last Friday, stuff like that, Friday, Sunday, Monday. I just thought also I looked at the DXY. Most people know that the DXY is, you know, the directional bias for is typically the directional bias for the US dollar. Um, I was like, I really honestly don't really have that much conviction in this trade anymore. So what I'm gonna do is take profit. I counted this as a win and I counted this as a win because I entered on both USD JPY and I also entered on USD CAD. This was the USD JPY yeah, JPY. This was the USD CAD. It's probably going to go in my favor, but unfortunately, I already exited, and if I decide to enter again, I'm honestly gonna do myself a disservice because usually this is the most reliable stop loss, is the initial break of structure. But if you start entering in the area, around here for whatever your reasons are, because price shifted back to bullish and whatever the case may be, back from bearish or bullish to bearish, then inside of the middle of the trade, a lot of times it's not reliable. So that's why I exited. But it could be, like I said, it could play out, honestly. Really could. Unfortunately, I already exited. It's, I took profit on this anyways. I made like $300 on it, and on about a what I think it was $1,000 account, I made like $500 or $300 on it. So yeah, these two were wins. I stepped away with profit, trailing stop loss. I just consider this trading stop loss. Um, 80 JPY. I can't. This was a loss. I remember I just took profit on this one. I'm just gonna say stop loss hit. Uh, but as you can see, these risk to rewards that I'm getting are 1 to 3s or more. And then if you look at the trading idea, you can see, boom, daily high, daily low, 1 hour shifted. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, right? If we click on AUD JPY, you can see, right, daily high, daily low. What do we get? We see that I entered on this 1 hour shift. So price went like that. Price shifted down. I entered right here, stop loss above here. Take profit was, oh, entry, right? Enter. Boom. I'm looking for price to rally down. It was a 1 to 4 risk to reward. And 1 to 4 risk to reward. I might have entered like somewhere around here. If it was a 1 to 4 risk to reward, then it would have been a good trade, but unfortunately got stopped out. Or I think I just exited early because I lost interest, which is fine. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much an example. So daily time frame sync. So sync time frame. TF is time frame. Daily highs, lows. For example, this one was daily high, daily low. So I'm looking to daily's high and daily's low. Uh, that's the range, or I find the range of the daily high and daily low. I anticipate price to go bearish. I'm waiting for a 1 hour shift on price, and then I'll enter, see if it's a 1 to 3 or more. But so that was the idea of this one. Um, yeah, I mean, internal to external. I explained the external to internal, right? I'm not sure. I added this recently. It's scaling. So what I mean by scaling is, let's say I'm looking for, if I was to take this trade right here and price, let's say, didn't do what it's doing now. What I'll do is I'll just do a replay. So if I do a replay, let's say price actually started to move in my favor. Price says it wants to do a low, high on the 1 hour time frame. Low, high, low, high, low, high, take profit. If price moved perfectly in this way, what I would say is, okay, if if we're if we're here, right? Boom. Right now it's look, yeah, if we're here, right here, doom, 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 price goes like this. I'm gonna say, hey, okay, so we got a low here, or damn, we got a, oh gosh, low, high, low, high. We got a break of structure. Now we got a low, high. I would say, okay. Now we got a new low. I would say, okay, boom. We got maybe um, we got a pullback. So if we got a pullback from here into here, I would drop down to 15-minute time frame. Okay, boom. We got a structure shift. Next thing you know, I might say, okay, 1%. I risk 1% for this. If I risk 1% for this, then that's a 1 to 14. So if it were this big move right here is a 1 to 4. Um, Now it seems like a big move, but if you think about it, if you think prices going into the direction of creating a new low on the daily time frame, and if you think about the 1 hour time frame, which typically, not always, but typically creates the daily time frame, and we get a pullback on the 1 hour time frame, and you enter in the same direction of the daily that you're anticipating, but you're only risking 1%. This is a 1 to 14. But this is just an example. But if you can do a 1 to 14 now, and if it does go in your favor, then now that's 14 plus 4. So now that's 5, 10, 15, 20% increase on your account's equity just by this right here. And then that is another increase of 14%. So that's 20% plus 14. 20 plus 14 is 24. So now you got, or not 20 plus 14. It's 34. So now you got an increase of 34% just by trading with the trend. And that's why my Instagram account is called Trend with Ant. Follow me on IG, guys. Trend with Ant. Trend. You trade with the trend, you don't trade against it. And if you do trade against the trend, it's because you're trading from external to internal, in my opinion. If you're trading with a trend. For example, trading with trend, if I'm going to trade with the trend or trade against the trend, here, let me go back. Hold on, let me check on USD CHF. See if we got that 15-minute closure. Boom, on camera. I literally got it on the Zoom call. Boom, you got the candle closure. So price has shifted from boom, bearish, making lower lows and lower highs to making a new high. So now we could get this should just go up in that direction. That is perfect. Like it doesn't get any better. It might get better. I don't know. But this is honestly really good for if it works, honestly. And I'm also gonna be back into a USD trade. Honestly, I didn't think I would be able to get back into USD trade. I thought these USD JPY and USD CAD trades would, have been a home run for me, but I started thinking against them, still be able to take profit from them. And honestly, right now it might go in my original favor, but unfortunately, I won't be a part of it if it does, because the 4 hours bullish, 1 hour shifted from bullish to bearish, and probably about to shift back to bullish. So, uh, yeah. But yeah, this is another opportunity that I'm favoring right now, and I'm actively in. Uh, with me being in both USD, CHF, and the CAD JPY trade, I am up only $131. Most people don't make $130 in only 2 hours. Some people make 100, some people don't make $130 in a day. So if it takes me only an hour or 2 hours to make $130, then I think this is the right opportunity. This might also be the right industry for me. And I think it's a great opportunity that most people should be a part of because it has a lot to do with the way that you think. And if you work on the way that you think, you don't have to abide by many people's rules that they instill on, they're projecting a lot of these rules on people where they might not be comfortable, right? Um, just for a paycheck. Honestly, it personally doesn't make sense to me, but the system's rigged. Everybody knows it. And there's a lot more than I want to say, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Um, so yeah, I can't wait to finish this book. I'm almost done. This is The Disciplined Trader. I've read Trading in the Zone. I've read The Compound Effect, and I'm also about to read. I think I'm about to read Market Wizards. It might be Wizards. Not sure, but I'll check. Um, yeah. So right now we are floating in profits. Um, the the one that's paying out the most right now is going to be the CAD JPY. This is a CAD JPY trade. This is a live account, obviously. I honestly have not really ever trade demo. I have trade demo, but I obviously never took it seriously. And if I did trade demo, it was probably only for 50 seconds, probably not even 50 minutes. Honestly, I don't say that as like, I don't say that as like a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but I don't know. Yeah, so I think the way that I'm about to start trading is, or the way that I'm actually trading now, I think it's giving it's giving better risk to reward. It's also going to, I don't know, I just think that this is a great change in the way that I'm trading, obviously for the better. It should also allow you guys to think outside the box and kind of think a little bit differently if you're a struggling trader. Um, but yeah, I really thought the 4 hour time frame would be the best fit for me personally, but I think now that I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame and making changes of I think it's more helpful for short-term directional bias, but it also allows you to understand a bit more about the long-term um directional bias. It's really like an in-between of a day trader and a swing trader. Like 4 hour time frame is more of a swing trader, but 1 hour time frame, it could be day trader and it could also be swing trader. Because the USD CAD and JPY, USD JPY trades that I was in before I exited in profit, I was in that trade since last week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Came into this week, I held it until today, which was if it was Thursday that I was in it, that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 6 days, for maybe what was it? Risk to reward was probably around, one was 1 to 14, which is great. That's actually really good. The other one was 1 to 6. So if we think about that, let's say we're thinking about one to 6. About 6 or 7 days it's taken me to get a 1 to 6 on a 4 hour or 4 hour yeah, 4 hour time frame. But I think it was actually daily. What was it? Daily in 1 hour. So right, longer term perspective. Instead of 1 hour, 5 minute, 1 hour daily time frame for a 1 to 6 risk to reward. 5, 6 days, 7 days maybe. But for 1 to 7, that's more. A and B, if this hits within less than 24 hours, that cuts down the amount of time it takes for me to make over a 1 to 6 in less than, that cuts down the time. What is that? Let's say 6 days. That cuts down the time by about maybe fifth, or it's probably like 90%. I would say like 90, or yeah, I would say about 90%, I think. Honestly, I'm bad at math. Um, but yeah, it doesn't really matter if I'm bad at math because we're gonna see. We're gonna see who has the last laugh, aka ex teachers, principals, everybody. What's crazy is the 30-minute time frame on this USD CHF trade might actually go bullish as well as the 15-minute time frame on top of the 5-minute time frame that it's already shifted. Look, guys, so once you understand that this is really a game of risk to reward, everything changes. There's literally like a shift in the universe. Um, That's why I've always been interested in working up here. I've never been interested in physical labor. I mean, yeah, I started off in physical labor, obviously working at like Walmart, but for the most part, I've done sales for like 4 years, which is not physical labor, but it's clearly you're sitting in front of the computer for a very long time, but it also takes a lot of time. It's also very time consuming. You have to I invested more than 5% of my income per week. So if I'm investing more than 5% a week, um, in the insurance industry, and I have a higher win rate making money in the markets than I do selling insurance, why does it make sense to be full-time insurance? Yeah, I could be a leader and stuff like that, but with this economy, a lot of people, like, how much it's gonna take for people in this economy to convince them to do sales, join your team, have them, sign paperwork, and then especially if it's not hourly, it's commission based. These people have bills that they need to pay, and they're struggling to keep up with their bills because they're not getting, any income outside of a commission-based opportunity. It's a commission-based opportunity. They got bills to pay. What else? They have to feed themselves. Uh, they have to, if they're not familiar with sales, then, they have to, or have a little bit of understanding of sales. They have to condition their brains to learning how to sell. They have to have enough patience. They need to learn about risk management. There's just so many different responsibilities, and I honestly don't think that most people nowadays are emotionally regulated or emotionally committed to changing their ways. And we all know about, can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's possible, but it's very highly unlikely. It is possible for an old dog to learn new tricks, but nowadays it's very unlikely for somebody to do that. That's the honest, hard truth. Um, it would be great to be a part of somebody's, sales journey, but I'm not gonna put 20 hours a day in doing so when I can simply teach somebody about proper risk management in the markets, um, how to convert over 3% or over 30% returns on your investment in the market on a weekly basis with only risking a minimum of about 5% or less per trade, with proper systems in place, with proper mental blocks in place being either removed or changed to have a better mental framework, and just replicating that into hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands. Just that idea and concept, I can just do everything like that virtually and teach everybody virtually without having to do any kind of, like, honestly, physical labor, and also not having to risk more than, you know, 5% of my income on a lead. Because when you're in the sales industry, a lot of times you're working with leads, and you could be spending more than 5% of your income on these leads. It's like, but yeah, um, who just don't pick up and stuff like that. But I'm not against sales, obviously, since I still do sales, but I've been working on my mental health, uh, my risk management approach in the markets, my strategy. So there's three things: risk management, strategy, and I don't remember what the third one was. But yeah, that is something that I find to be interesting. So that's pretty much the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. 15-minute time frame has for sure shifted from bearish to bullish as per 5 minute as well. Hopefully stop loss does not get hit. It is now 10:30 at night. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to continue to go up. It looks like the 30-minute time frame wanted to close above, but then it came back down for some reason. Who knows why? But that's not a great sign. It's not a bad sign, but it's not a great sign. And yeah, but that's pretty much the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys learn new things on this video, and I hope you guys also have I really hope you guys are able to, learn from this stuff. If you guys learned something, comment below. If you guys Before I go, let me read you guys one more quote from Mark Douglas. This is the guy right here. Um, okay, so earlier I mentioned having creating mental framework. Mental framework can come from your strategy. So if you're saying, "Hey, I'm not going to enter a trade unless it's a at least a 1 to 3 risk to reward," that's a mental framework that you can create for yourself. So this quote is essentially it's essentially a good explanation to that quote. So it says, getting reckless is exactly what people have a tendency to do if they don't feel any fear, especially if there is a potential for thrilling results as there is in trading. Hmm. So I think recently I've been affected by that because I figured that there was this potential NASDAQ trade, and I was risking 5% on it. And then until I wasn't, I honestly put in like two or three more trades of me risking 5%. So now instead of 5%, I'm actually risking 20% on this trade. And you just have to be aware of those things. Like, don't be too caught up in, oh, I'm only risking 5% in this trade. Actually think about what you're doing, because if you are risking 5% in your positions, but then you double down, triple down, quadruple down, or even 5x the amount of positions you have, now you're risking more than 5%. You're risking 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%. And long term, that's not going to be healthy for you. It's also going to build unhealthy habits. And that's pretty much, it's like literally it's just not good overall. It's not healthy. And that's not the right way to go about trading. And it's also going to create bad habits, and it's not good discipline. So that's pretty much what I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, join my Discord for free. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great weekend.